the humble time trial, often known as the race against the clock or the race of truth. It's bike racing in its purest form. Simply ride as fast as you can from point A to point B. It doesn't get much more simple or indeed much more painful.
Nailing a time trial can be a ridiculously satisfying experience though, so we're told. So here are a few really good ways to train for this solo sufferfest. Your ability to cycle up hills is governed almost exclusively by your power to weight ratio. But when time trialing on flat terrain, it's far more about your power to drag coefficient ratio. Drag coefficient, or CDA, is basically a measure of how aerodynamic you are. But regardless, raising your functional threshold power should still be goal number one if you want to improve your time trialing by training. And that basically means doing loads of sweet spot and threshold intervals.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Pacing a time trial is something that's really hard to get right, even for experienced cyclists. And for those of us who've been lucky enough to have access to a power meter, we've often found that what we've actually been doing in time trials is starting out too hard and gradually fading throughout. If you do it that way, it will feel very hard from start to finish, but actually you can go faster by pacing things better.
Yeah, some pros have actually started experimenting with a negative split strategy, which is basically where they go at a higher power for the second half of the event compared to the first half. And it's definitely worth experimenting with for you too. So maybe have a play around in training, see if it works.
Yeah, if you haven't got a power meter though, then think of it like this. If your time trial is over 10 minutes in duration, the first third should feel reasonably comfortable. The middle part, you should start to feel like you're really working hard, and then the last third, you should feel like you're only just about going to be able to sustain the pace through to the finish. Now this next point is a little bit of a case of do as we say and not as we do, because we thoroughly recommend that you spend a lot of time training on your TT bike. Lots of riders find that they can't put out the same power in that extreme position as they can on their road bike, but you can reduce that discrepancy by spending more time training on your TT bike. And whilst you're at it, why not experiment with another couple of things? Firstly, taking your chin forward and head down out of the wind, and secondly, shrugging up your shoulders close to your head. Both should reduce your overall drag, and if you do them in training, it'll be much easier to do when you're racing.
Unsurprisingly, one of the best ways to train for time trialing is to compete in time trials. Now it might sound obvious, but it's a great way of practicing, and practice makes perfect. Now many local cycling clubs around the world will have weekly evening events, and they're a great opportunity to test things out. It could be dialing in your warm-up, it could be testing new equipment, your pacing strategy, or just the amazing training effect from pinning a number on your back and having that added impetus.
Chris Boardman, a time trialling pioneer from the 1990s, used to do some very short, very intensive intervals in his time trial position, trying to keep his upper body as still as he possibly could. The idea behind it was that if he was comfortable at such a high power, then he'd be finding it a piece of cake to go at the lower sustained power on race day itself. In a single session, you can do anything up to 20 intervals of 10 seconds in duration. How on earth is stretching going to improve your time trialling, I hear you ask?
How on earth is stretching going to improve my time trialing, Dan?
Well, the position that you adopt trying to get really aerodynamic on a time trial bike is particularly arduous for your body and your muscles, especially your hamstrings, glutes and lower back, and trying to get over into that hunched position.
Yeah, so regular stretching could help you adopt your current position much more comfortably, or it could also help you get lower and therefore more aerodynamic and faster. In fact, if you want to see a specific video about stretching for cycling, why not click up there?
And if you're looking to try and improve your functional threshold power, we've got a video for that which you can find just down here.
And you need to subscribe to GCN, of course, because that will also make you a faster time trialer.
And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up just down below.
Can we say that it'll make them faster by subscribing.
Oh, I think that's obvious.
Pretty
How
much,
fast we
yeah,
are.
okay.
We subscribe.
Yeah.